Hello everybody, and welcome to Unit 4, which covers theocracy. Theocracy is a system of government in which priests rule in the name of God or a god. And it is also where government leaders are members of the clergy. So not necessarily priests, if that's not what the clergy of that particular country is called. And the state's legal system is based on religious law. So you may have a state or country that uses the Bible as their form of law or the Quran. So we're going to take a look at 3 examples, 3 different countries that use theocracy as their system of government. So follow me. Alright, so first up we have the Iranian government structure, which is a combo of a republic, which we're going to discuss in a later video, and theocracy, which has the president, parliament, majlis, judicial system, and each one of those entities share power, which connects or governs the entire national government. Alright, so for the Iranian constitution, you have what is considered the Assembly of Experts. They are religious, and from there you have the supreme leader, who is above the president. The supreme leader is religious. The supreme leader is head of the judiciary, which controls the judge. Now, with the president and the supreme leader, you have the elected legislature, which are the males. Only males, no females. And the president is in charge of the Ministry of Culture and Guidance, and what falls under them is the Committee of the Supervision of the Press. And whatever they determine goes up here to the judge. And all of this whole structure is followed by the Islamic law. Alright, so for Saudi Arabia, they have a government structure that follows primarily like a monarchy. But, yeah, the king, who's in charge of the legislative, executive, and judicial areas. But he's also considered the prime minister. And he is in control of the Council of Ministers, which do executive and administrative matters which pertain to foreign and domestic policy, defense, finance, health, and education, and that is filtered down through numerous agencies. The thing of it is, though, major policy decisions are made primarily through the royal family, and many of those hold government positions. So still following a monarchy, but the overriding factor, or what governs all of their decisions, is through the Quran and through Islamic law. We have Vatican City, which is located in Italy. But from the 4th century to 1870, it gained control of territory around Rome and served as the capital of the Papal States. Later on, in 1929, during Fascist Italy, Vatican City gained independence, became a sovereign country, or gained its sovereignty. And so its structure looks like this. Okay, so the structure, we have the Pope, who's in charge, and he is the ruling party, or the decider on everything that's executive, legislative, and judicial. Under him, we have the Secretariat of State, who governs the 5 cardinals under them, who carry out all the instruction from there. And then, following that, we have the priests and nuns that filter all the information into their sections. But this is the structure of the Vatican. Okay, so those were 3 examples of a theocratic government. And there are a few more in existence today. The United States does not operate necessarily with a theocratic government, but we do have the line, "In God we trust," or "One nation under God." And the under God had actually been added quite a few years ago, but relatively within our, not necessarily our lifetime, but within the last good amount of years. Now remember, I tend to mention the wrenches of these systems, human wrenches. These are how the government structures are supposed to work. But there's a reason why the United States has freedom of religion in the First Amendment. And the reason is that in each of these countries, should you not follow these laws, there are punishments attached to that. And it varies. Vatican City tends to have a relatively strict system, but with acceptance. And they've gotten more accepting of different things over time. But countries such as Iran and Saudi Arabia, their laws have become more strict, and it is very confining. As you saw with the Iranian government, they have one structure, one system or part of their government that has very clearly defined only males. So, as far as our perspective from an American standpoint, that is very restrictive. But as we have seen through perspectives of the people that live in these countries, I believe Afghanistan is another country that is ruled by theocratic law and theocratic government. It is restricting for many women, and it's difficult to live in these countries. But it is when you allow only a theocratic version of law, not letting things ebb and flow. And even with, and these are dangerous things to say, but even with either a Bible or a Quran or any system of government that follows religion, religion itself can be interpreted in different ways. It's why people gather to express their opinions or discuss certain aspects. And it is in that you can have what I have termed as human wrenches. There are people that will look into these things and find favor for themselves rather than favor for others. Not always the case, but it is what has happened in some of these countries. So, with that, you guys check out the next part in your module. You should find what is going to be counted as participation that you actually have till Thursday to complete, and we'll discuss it Thursday. So, I hope you have all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.